Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So today we're going to be taking a look at the ultra thin, ultra lightweight, and super concealable Hyperline ballistic vest from Safe Life Defense. I've been wearing it underneath my jacket here. It's honestly like I'm wearing nothing. It's also a new carrier, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at the panels and the carrier, and we're going to test it with everything from 22 Magnum all the way up to 10 millimeters. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here's the new Hyperline and the new vest right here. And I have been testing out body armor for the past 10 years. And I gotta say, this is definitely the most comfortable vest that I have worn. This new armor really conforms to your body. So instead of just being flexible, you know, in one direction and it kind of sits there and you can't really move with it, this stuff really does kind of shape itself to your body and it feels really, really nice. Full range of motion, front and back, up and down. It's extremely lightweight, so you don't feel like you're just being weighed down by a level 3A. Feels really nice. It is an excellent carrier with a lot of adjustability. Obviously, we have adjustability here on the shoulder straps. We have adjustability here with the front. So, you know, lift it up, lower it down, bring it in as nice and tight or as loose as you want it. It really is an excellent carrier, and they changed up some of the materials, and these materials are very soft and snag free. Some of the problems that I've had with other carriers is the material that they use will snag on whatever you're wearing it under, and it ends up just kind of riding everything up. You don't have that problem with this vest. Now, one thing I want to mention real quick, because I keep saying these are lightweight and they're thin, the Hyperline panels themselves inside the vest right here are less than 0.2 of an inch thick. That's how thin these panels are, and still rated up to 44 Magnum. So at 0.2 of an inch, I mean, it's virtually like wearing nothing. Okay, so here's a quick look at the new vest right here. So it's nice, it's slim, it's really lightweight. These entire black panels on either side right here are all what your adjustment straps attach to. So you have a lot of range to be able to adjust this thing tighter or looser, basically using this entire portion of the panel right there. The straps themselves are kind of like a strong bungee, so you can kind of move, and as you bend over, it's not going to cause the plate to move away from your body and, you know, kind of bunch up or bulge out in certain spots. Because you have that really nice retention right there, it allows you to kind of move along with it. It's going to be the same for the shoulder straps as well, and then this really nice soft material right there. It's a little bit dirty because I'm out in the desert here, but you can see in the back, entire back is going to be that female part of the hook and loop right there. So again, a lot of adjustability, and then the soft material towards the top right there. So it's really nice. It's very adjustable, very thin, and extremely lightweight. So why don't we go ahead and pull out one of the panels. Again, these are level 3A panels, so they're rated up to 44 Magnum. They're really nice and give you complete coverage and total protection. Okay, so I went ahead and I pulled one of the panels out of the vest. This is what it looks like right here. It's kind of white on one side. It's got a very thin cover on it just to keep it waterproof, keep the elements out of it. It's hard to see on camera, but it does say Hyperline on the front right there. This would be your strike face, so this is what's pointing forward. Flip it over, and you can see the back of the panel right there, and it's got another information placard on it right there as well to give you more information about the panel and its capabilities and stuff like that. So this is the panel itself, extremely thin. It's kind of hard to tell because this cover extends out past the panel itself, but it's very thin, it's extremely lightweight, and it seems like it's really nicely made. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start off with the 22 Magnum. This is a very fast cartridge right here. It's only a 40 grain projectile, but it's moving at 1,875 feet per second. And we're gonna be shooting that out of a 6-inch barrel. So we're gonna go ahead and try that first. Then we're gonna move up to our 9 millimeter, which is just a standard 115 grain ball round. This right here is, I believe, Winchester white box. I'm not sure the velocity. It's probably around 1,100 feet per second or so. Then we're going to step it up to the 45 ACP, but instead of using like a 5 or 6-inch barrel for the 45, we're going to try and get maximum velocity here. So we're actually going to be using a 16-inch barrel out of the Juggernaut Tactical JT45 carbine. Now, I watched a great video by Curtis over at the VSO Gun Channel where he actually tested barrel velocity and 45 ACP to find out what barrel length is too long, what barrel length is short, and where you get your maximum velocity. And I believe he found it was about 15 to 16 inches is max velocity before the dwell time is too long and the round starts slowing down. So we're going to be using that 16-inch barrel today, and that's a 230 grain, just basically ball ammo right there. Then we're going to step it up to our 10 millimeter. This is a PMC bronze 10 millimeter auto, and it's a 170 grain projectile. This is going to be a hollow point right here because that's all I have in 10 millimeter is a bunch of boxes of hollow points. Then after that, we're gonna step it up. We're gonna switch panels, turn this thing around, and we're gonna hit it with a 1 ounce slug. So that's gonna be a Winchester Super X 1 ounce slug, 2 3/4 inch. Okay, so first up is gonna be 22 Magnum, and we're standing about 10 feet away. Now this one's not too hard to figure out. It absolutely did not go through. I mean, I can't even feel anything, to be honest with you. I hit 2 shots right about here, and nothing went through. I have a gallon jug of water sitting in here, so if anything goes through, you'll definitely know it. I also have some rocks in there to kind of hold this thing still in a black plastic trash can to just kind of absorb things and hold its shape. But the 22 Magnum, even at 1,875 feet per second, nothing went through. And we'll take this vest off and we'll take a closer look at it when I start hitting it with the heavier stuff. But let's go ahead and move up to the 9mm. It's going to be out of that's a 5.5 inch barrel. 9mm, we're going to be at the same distance, and I'm going to be maybe just towards the center right there. Okay, so I was trying to get this one a little bit closer to the center, but I have one that's pretty much dead center right there, got another 9mm off to the right, and then here and here are going to be the 22 Magnum. So let's just go ahead and drop this thing down and take a look at the back of it. Okay, so here's a look at the back of the panel right here. As you can see, we have no pass-through whatsoever. As a matter of fact, not only did it stop all 4 rounds so far, but it hasn't even torn the back of the carrier at all. A lot of times when you hit these things, when I'm testing armor, a lot of times the back of the carrier will tear where there's deformation. But as a matter of fact, it's still fairly flat. I mean, the deformation on this is not too bad. So looking pretty good so far. Let's step it up to the 45. Okay, so now we have the JT45 16-inch barrel, 45 ACP, 230 grain projectile. Let's go ahead and sling a couple at it real quick. Okay, so for these shots, I went towards the bottom of the panel. You can see that we have one hole right here, and we have another hole right here, right at the seam. So let's go ahead and take the panel off and take a look at what it looks like in the back. But I'll be honest, it doesn't feel too bad as far as you know, the bulge and how much deformation you have. A lot of times when it comes to this type of material, you'll get everything kind of starting to wad into a ball. You know, it just kind of all pulls together, but it's looking pretty good, so let's take it off. Okay, so here's a look at the back of our panel right here. As you can see, absolutely nothing went through on either side. The panel's a little bit torn up, and that's because, like I said, I have rocks in that little trash can, which is all busted into pieces now. So the carrier itself kind of got up against those rocks and it tore it a little bit. But as far as penetration, 45 ACP out of a 16-inch barrel, still absolutely nothing. And this panel's still, for the most part, flat in the back, which is really surprising. Like I said before, a lot of times when I'm testing armor like this and you start hitting it multiple times, it'll start to bunch up and ball up, and you know, you lose coverage because it pulls it into one specific zone. And it's not doing that. It's keeping it shaped really nicely. Okay, so now we got our 10mm. This is just going to be out of a standard stock Glock. So let's go ahead and shoot a couple of those 170 grain hollow points, and I'll try and aim kind of in the middle where I haven't shot yet. That 10mm definitely got a little bit more recoil, well, that's for sure. Okay, so here is the 10mm, and you can see it's kind of strange, the hollow point, how it digs out a much bigger hole than even the 45 in ball ammo. You can see we have our impact there and here. Let's go ahead and take the panel off. All right, so here's the back of our panel, 10mm, 170 grain hollow point, and no pass-through whatsoever. As a matter of fact, again, the carrier itself is still intact. It's mostly flat, which is still really surprising, especially given how weak my backstop is. But 2 10mm, 2 9mm, 2 22 Magnums, 2 45s, and absolutely nothing. So it's just really, really nice. For something that light to work that well, it's honestly very impressive. I mean, I was impressed with how comfortable it was, but seeing how well it stopped those rounds, I'm really impressed by everything. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and flip this thing around to the nice fresh panel, and we're going to go ahead and hit that with the 1 ounce slug just to see what happens. I don't think they actually test it for stuff like that, to be honest with you, but we're going to go ahead and do that today. All right, well, everybody say a prayer for my shoulder because it's been a minute since I've shot 12 gauge slugs. So We're only gonna stand at this one about 7 feet away, and I'm gonna aim right for the center of the plate. Woo! Holy crap. 7 feet away with a 1 ounce slug. Oh man. Yeah, you definitely get a lot more deformation from a slug. That's a fact. Here's the trash can that I had. Here's the bottle of water that was behind it. And that is what our panel looks like. So let's just push this thing in, feel if we can feel the slug. I don't even feel the slug, but it is abundantly clear that absolutely nothing went through. 1 ounce slug at 7 feet, and it did not go through. Well, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? Here is the carrier. I tore it. It's also split. This is where our slug hit, right there. I know it's a little bit difficult to see, but absolutely no pass-through. I mean, that's really incredible. Yeah, this thing was bulged in pretty good. That's a lot of energy being transferred to this plate right here, but it's still actually in pretty good condition. I would say that it would still take multiple hits in other parts of the plate. It doesn't look like there's really any degradation other than just really that main spot that we hit, that little 1 inch circle right there. Okay, so again, here's our entry point. Here is the back of the panel where you can see that it did not pass through right there. The rest of the panel looks like it's in phenomenal condition. And then you can't really see it. I mean, it's in there, it's warm, and you could feel the slug inside, but these things are really hard to get into, even with a knife, because you know, they're stab proof and slash proof and all that stuff, so they're meant to resist being cut. My pocket knife is just not going to do it. But again, there you can see 1 ounce slug out of a 20-inch barreled shotgun. Absolutely nothing. So again, really impressive. 45, 22, didn't matter if it was a slow round or a hot round. The reason I chose the 115 for the 9mm is because it does tend to move faster than moving up in weight. So going with like a 124 or a 147, something like that, they tend to go a little bit slower. When it comes to armor like this, it's speed that works against this type of armor. If it's going super fast, there's a less likelihood that it's going to stop it. You know what, since I do have my pocket knife out here with me, let's go ahead and just do some stabs and some slashes on here just to kind of see what happens. It's hitting it pretty hard. Yeah, it doesn't even, it goes through the cover, but it doesn't even get through that top layer. So it's great to have something that's thin and lightweight and easy to wear and concealable, because chances are, more than likely, you're not going to ever need it. But what about when you do need it? That one instance that you didn't expect where you're going to need this thing to step up and do what it was designed to do. Well, I mean, proof is in the pudding, right? You can't really know until you test it. It's great to see something tested out in a laboratory, but a laboratory is a very static, very clean environment, right? Everything is set up perfect the way that it's supposed to be. Out here, I'm using different backstops, different types of ammunition. I'm at different distances and, you know, different barrel lengths, and trying things out that you're not going to find in a lab. And that's kind of where we step it up just a little bit from the testing that they do. Again, we kind of take it over the top a little bit sometimes, but it's to show that you're getting the protection that you're looking for, again, in that instant that you might actually need it. So being able to stop, you know, small caliber to large caliber projectiles from different distances and barrel lengths and velocities and everything else, and still knowing that you're not going to have anything travel through you, is fantastic. So I gotta be honest, just after testing it, after wearing it for the past month or so, I gotta say that this Hyperline from Safe Life Defense is absolutely one that I would trust my life to, and definitely worth checking out. Again, check out the showroom. It's here in Vegas. If you're ever here, you're on the Strip or whatever. It's not even like a mile off the Strip, so you can go over there and you know, check out the showroom, check out everything that they have. But this stuff is definitely really cool, and I would trust my life to it absolutely, especially after that. So again, check it out. I will leave some information down below for you guys to check out as well. And I want to, again, thank you to Safe Life for sending this out. Very impressive. You guys have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification for more 2A news and reviews.